Hello, good evening and welcome to the FB4 Daily for your Friday night show. Tonight, of course, is brought to you in association with Paddy Power. With me this evening, I have Grizz and we're going to have a little look at a couple of fixtures at the a couple of fixtures in the Premier League this weekend, because to me it's very, very interesting. But of course, our main thing will be Liverpool against Man City, which is on Sunday at 4:30. Grizz, how are you?
I'm alright, pal.
Yeah?
Alright, what's happening?
Good form?
Yeah, always.
And some Tier 1 information in. Top Boy 4 is in the making, is that right?
Absolutely breaking news. Top Boy 4 is in the... I WhatsApped you. It's probably the best news for you. I know you're a massive fan.
Big fan.
Yeah, so that's why as soon as I read that, I messaged you straight away.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best messages I've sent you for you. I bet you're chuffed to bits about that. Top Boy 4.
It's in the top 5 of all the messages you've ever sent me.
There you go.
Yeah.
I knew it.
It's just behind the one where you sent me the picture of all the ice cream in your fridge. I'm going to be honest. Chris Brack says good evening, Gav and Grizz. North Red says good evening, Reds. Good evening to both of them men in the chat room early doors. Grizz, we are going to get to Liverpool Man City. I gave an early prediction during the week, early on in the week, and I'm going to have a look at my prediction because this is the last show before the game will actually happen from us. But there's a couple of games in the league, and I know you watch a lot of football, and I know you have opinions on most teams in this league. So there's a couple of games. The first one I'm going to start with is Leicester City versus Arsenal. Leicester in third place at the minute. Arsenal in fifth. Arsenal look a mess. Leicester look like they're going to do big things this season for me. The main question looking at this one is this a chance for... Sorry, two questions, I suppose. One, is this a real chance for Leicester to put a massive marker down here? And two, does Emery survive if he loses this game, Chris?
I don't think Emery survives, regardless. Well, I think unless he pulls out, a winning streak of like 3-4 in a row, I think he's a gunner. I really, really do believe that. I think a couple of mates I was chatting to, Arsenal fans, think the same. They think enough's enough, especially with the Xhaka incident and the captaincy incident, and the way Emery didn't really come out and support his captain, which I thought was, horrendous. I mean, you make someone a captain, and apparently he made him captain via a poll.
Yeah, there was a vote within the club amongst the players. Yeah.
So the guy's totally not in control of his team. There is definitely no belief in his methods. The owner's gonna. I'm pretty sure. The owners are making moves. Trying to work out who's next. The man, it's a dead man walking. But from a Leicester point of view, Gav, this is most definitely a chance to put down a marker. I mean, Arsenal were, or maybe probably still are, one of the contenders, along with Leicester and your Spurs and Chelsea's, for that top 4 berth. And they put Arsenal away. I think most people would make them definitely one of the faves to make that top 4.
Yeah, I think Leicester are massive favourites. I think,
yeah.
I'm just going into the table now. I'm just noticed Watford have beaten Norwich. Norwich just look like they're in absolute free fall and going nowhere fast. But if you look, 4th place, there's 6 points already between Arsenal in 5th and Chelsea in 4th. And obviously Leicester are on 23 points as well. Kev O'Sullivan says the test for Leicester is winning these type of games. They're expected to. Arsenal's front three can trouble anyone. It's one of those games for Leicester, just to focus on them a minute. That they were poor at Old Trafford in a game where they could have went and won early on. They got beaten at Liverpool. This is a sort of game against a top 5, top 6 team, Grizz, where they need to prove themselves a little bit more as the season goes on.
I think Kev makes a brilliant point. I actually agree with him totally. Despite the plaudits and despite everyone bigging up Leicester right now, this is the kind of game where majority of fans and media expect them to go and win, and so they need to go and win it against a fellow top six team. Like you said, everyone expected them to go and get a result against United. They didn't. They kind of froze. Everyone kind of not expected them, sorry, but, some expected them to get a result against us, but they didn't. So this is definitely a chance for them to sort of put down a marker and show their quality.
Just checking there. You're not dying there on me again, Grizz, are you?
Glory, mute button. I did, but I pressed the mute so you didn't hear it.
Well, I heard a massive cough there while you were trying to explain to me about Leicester.
Oh, that's just normal. That was a normal one. You should have heard the next one.
Oh, right. Bad, was it?
Mute.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's this weather, Gav. It's this weather. It's absolute. I don't know what it's like up in Dublin country, but it's absolutely freezing. It's close to freezing in London.
Yeah, I'm struggling. And I'm refusing to get my hair cut until I feel a little bit better. So it's one of those.
No, leave your hair.
It's going in the morning, Grizz. It's absolutely going in the morning.
Really?
Chemical Kev says it sounds like Grizz has the Man City flu. It does. He nearly died on us last Sunday after he said synonymous.
I'm still recovering from that.
Yeah, Chris Brack said it's the gang flu. It's spreading. Chris has the gang flu. Let me see. Stephen Mack says an hilarious game. The Gunners versus Walkers FC. Many goals. I think it will be a high scoring game. But we don't think Emery survives regardless. But and we're looking for Leicester to go and prove themselves against what will be traditionally a top 4, top 5, top 6 side, which they haven't really done this season. But
yeah, look, it's the first time, Gav, in a while now where Leicester are expected to win these games. Everyone before previous years used to say, "Oh, Leicester have got a big game in them." Do you know what I mean? So they'd be tipped to beat one of the big boys. Maybe
I think it's a bit different, Grizz. Though I think it's a bit like you would say last season in particular. Leicester have a big game in them, but Leicester are getting a little bit of a reputation here, Grizz, where there's plenty of big games in them. Like it's more of a surprise when they don't have a big game, as opposed to oh, it's a surprise because they did put in a big performance. They're setting themselves a fairly high bar here, Grizz.
They are, but listen, they've got to do it. Gav, I understand. They've had a brilliant start. They've been impressive. But as I've said, there is a couple of games in there where they haven't quite got over the line. For example, did they? I don't think they won at Chelsea, did they? They drew.
They drew. They should have been. Chelsea should have been out of sight that day, and then Leicester should have actually won it. That's how mad that game was.
This is my point. So despite the hype, okay, they put in a brilliant performance. Spurs is the only top team they've beaten, right? So, despite all the plaudits and credit, yeah, definitely they're playing well. They've got to put teams like Arsenal, who are in and around, top 7, 8, whatever they may be or they might be, or, considered, a top 6 team. They've got to put them away. And, yeah, it's all well and good. Everyone's sort of applauding them, and Brendan Rodgers doing a wonderful job. He's got to continue it, because I do believe Spurs will settle down. I don't know if you wanted to touch on the Spurs game.
I will get to that, yeah.
But Spurs will settle down. Chelsea are looking good, so Leicester will have to keep this going.
Yeah, and I think even at this stage they should be looking at themselves going, we should be making top 4 here. Because if you take Liverpool and City obviously out of the equation, if Chelsea do what they're doing, they're a shoe-in. And Leicester should be looking behind going, Arsenal are not any good. United and Spurs are way off. I think they're 10 points off at Leicester at this stage. They are 10 points off Leicester. So
what, Spurs as well?
Spurs and United are 10 points off, I think, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I know United are 18 points behind us. And Leicester are 8 points behind us. So, yeah, you know what I mean? There must be 10 points clear of them. Give me a prediction for it, Chris.
Leicester-Arsenal, I think, will end up... I think it ends up 3-1 to Leicester.
3-1 to Leicester. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Leicester win. I just think that they'll have a little bit too much. And Jamie Vardy loves playing against Arsenal as well. He loves upsetting them. Chris Brack says Arsenal have the same issue as Man United and Everton. They need to sort things out at board level before the football will improve. Chris Pross reckons that Jose will be in charge of Arsenal after the Leicester game. Interesting if it happens, because the one thing they won't like his style of football, and I'm not too sure, given the history and tradition that Arsenal have, that I think he suits them whatsoever. But he could be one of those where it's last resort stuff, and Jose is looking to get back into football in London, and in the Premier League to prove himself again. I thought he would have hung around and see what happened at Spurs, but you never know if Arsenal come in and.
No, I personally think Arsenal are going to go down the legends route. I think they're gonna give it to one of the team at the moment. Like, I think they probably go with like Ljungberg to the end of the season, something like that.
Really?
And then assess it. Then they look at like a Vieira or someone like that, or Henry, or I think they'll go down that route.
All right, okay.
Just not much.
No problem. Moving on, the other team in the top 4 at the moment is Chelsea, and as you said, they're going quite well. Sorry, not just quickly going by Arsenal Fan TV. They don't want Jose, but you see, Arsenal Fan TV are absolutely insane. So whatever they say, the opposite may happen. If you're watching this on
Right.
Periscope, please hit the share button, share it onto your timelines. If you're watching it on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, tell people to subscribe, tell them to watch, let them have a watch, and if you like it, absolutely subscribe. I'm going to remind you now, and I will remind you at the end, the Fatback 4 show will be on at 9 p.m. on Sunday night. It will be myself, it will be Grizz, it will be Chris Brack, that's in the chat room at the moment, but he will join us on Sunday. It will be only live on YouTube, so anybody watching this on Periscope, just make sure you have a YouTube account or whatever. You can just go into YouTube and find it, and anyone listening to the download later on, if you want to watch it live, it will be on YouTube only. Moving on though, Chelsea are in the top 4. Lampard's doing a good job. I think it's been over-egged how he's, they're comparing it to the class of 92 at Man United because he's using young players. I think that's a bit of a myth. But having said that, he's in a decent position, and they welcome Palace to Stamford Bridge at the weekend. And it's another game, Grizz, where they're starting to become a little bit flat track bullyish, and I think that may suit them.
I mean, I've been sort of.
It'll get them top 4, was what I mean.
I've been trying to fight this admiration that I've suddenly got for Lampard and Chelsea, and they're becoming very likable. And I don't want to like them. I've got loads of mates down here in London that are Chelsea fans, and I can't stand them. Since our rivalry from the Jose days, etc., etc. But you have to admit, Gav. Well, I have to admit, you may not admit because you're a stubborn mule. But Lampard is doing a very good job, Gav, and they're playing entertaining football. As you know, I'm a football man, so I do get to watch most of the games. And you know what? Chelsea are playing some bloody good stuff, Gav. The young lad in midfield, Mount, Kovacic and Jorginho look revitalised. They look like brand new players, Gav. I've been critical of Jorginho in the past, saying that the Premiership's not for him. They've got an absolute gem at the back in Tomori, the resurgence of what's his name? Pulisic, Tony Pulisic. Is his first name?
Yeah.
Something like that. Same thing.
Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, well, got there, innit? Christian.
Same
Pulisic,
difference.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah.
But so Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi fighting for that place on the left. Do you know what, Gav? I get what everyone's saying, that it was forced upon him, etc., etc. But the guy's done a fantastic job, and credit to him.
No, absolute credit to him. Just a couple more comments. We will stay on Chelsea, but PW, which is a really good name on YouTube, says, would Arsenal appoint a legend? They'll end up like United in mid-table with a guy they really don't want to fire because there's nowhere to go. Yeah, it's not a bad show. Nordred agrees with Chris. It'd be a great watch if Jose takes over. Chemical Kev says Lampard works under so many different managers, he's bound to have picked up something. Kev O'Sullivan reckons Palace don't roll over easy at the moment. Zaha's due a big game. Can see this one being a 1-1. Dave's LFC chat says, hi, Gavin Grizz. Dave, how are you, my man? Grizz, my take on them is, don't get me wrong, he's used Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham's been out on loan a couple of years. I don't know what age he is, but he has experience in first-team football. Mason Mount had a really good season at Derby. I'd call him less experienced. Tomori, I think, was with him at Derby last year as well. And don't get me wrong, he has used younger players, right? But he's bought, the Pulisic has come in at 64 million quid or whatever it was. The thing is, he seems to have got the mix right. And what I mean by that is, he has a group of players there that look disinterested at Chelsea. And this little sprinkling of A, Lampard, and B, the likes of, Mount, Abraham, Tomori, coming in and challenging these players that were set in stone at Chelsea has kind of urged the other players on. So although
Absolutely.
I'll give him credit for bringing youngsters through, because he has, and he gave them their, he gave them the go at Derby when it comes to Mount and Tomori. And Tammy Abraham, he's obviously seen at championship level and stuff like that on loan, and he's given them the go. But I think the biggest thing about these young players coming in, it's fired up the more established players. You know, the kind of way where you'd seen a William was going to probably go, Pedro would have disappeared and now he's back. Alonso seems rejuvenated. And they've some top quality in Jorginho, Kovacic. They have really good players. It's just a sprinkling of it that I think he's got really well. The only worry I'd have from Grizz is these youngsters, it's a big season for them. It's the Premier League. It's only 11 games in or whatever it is. It's when it gets to 25 games, 30 games, Grizz, and the intensity of the season may catch up with them a little bit. It's what way Chelsea react. But I fully expect them to go into the top four. Because they're being brave enough in what they're doing. They are flat track bully in the league, and that gets you 70 points before you look at anything else. And as well as that, the rest behind them are brutal. Can you see Palace doing that against them this weekend?
See, the Palace are one of the most strangest teams, aren't they? And they've probably got one of the most strangest managers who everyone considers an absolute fucking dinosaur. But he's still there, and he's still got a bloody good record, apparently. But I don't see, there are shambles at home, Palace, but they're pretty good away from home. So, they are a specialist away team, Palace, under Hodgson. So, you could see them. See, there you go. I've given you the same thing I've got.
Yeah, no, I'm dying.
Amazing. Have a drink of water. But basically, I can see Palace going there and making it hard for them. But I think Chelsea will have enough, and they're flying at the moment, to get the win. I don't think it will be, by a significant margin. But if you're asking me for a prediction, I'm going 2-0.
2-0. Glenner says, Gav is saying, that kind of way again. I did, Glenner, didn't I? Glenner's like a beacon that goes off every time I say, what, that kind of way. But I just keep doing it. I'm sorry, Glenner. I don't even think Glenner...
No, it's fine. I like it. I know I've heard you say. I've noticed it. But I smile to myself when you say it because I think it's cute.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Glenner, I don't think... Glenner doesn't say anything else. He just comes on here, waits for that to happen, lets me know, and then heads off into the night. And I've absolutely no issues.
Don't be minding Glenn. You say what you say.
Glenn's all right. Glenn's all right. He's fine. Northred says he had no option. He had nobody else to play. He's a lucky fucker. He always was. That's a fair point as well. He inherited a brilliant squad. Not a brilliant squad, but a squad that you would say is top four material, even though he has this transfer ban, and that'll be a different. I
want to give him credit, Gav.
I do want to give him credit. No, absolutely want to give him credit because he still had to come in and take from me what looked like an uninterested group of players and get them interested again. That's, as I said in my previous point, that's the biggest. That's the biggest credit I would give him, and it's probably one of the hardest things to do is to motivate highly paid footballers that look disinterested, and we're probably a good few of them looking to leave the club, especially when you see Eden Hazard run. You're probably thinking this is probably a time to get out of here, but he's held most of them together and he's doing great. It'll be a different challenge to him when the transfer ban ends and he has to go and spend money, and he's judged a lot more harshly on what he does because he is getting a little bit of a pass and a little bit of a buy, but that's fair enough. He's a young manager that's taken on a difficult situation with regards to what your makeup of your squad would be. But there's more challenges for Lampard, but so far he's doing quite well. For me, I think this game, Hodgson's, he's 4 wins. I think 4 wins. I think he's 4 losses and 3 draws or something like that already. And as soon as they look like they're... I heard on the Anfield Wrap today, Paul Cope said, Hodgson looked at this and went, 5th in the league? I'm not having that. No, I'm not comfortable with that at all. And went and lost a couple of games. And you wouldn't put it past him because he's a dinosaur, as you say. I think they'll go there. I think they'll be hard to beat. I think they will try sit in a little bit like they've done at Manchester United. But I think Chelsea have a bit more quality than United did that day. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Chelsea.
Okay, I think you need to go first because I've got a sense of you copying me.
Did I copy it on both?
It's all right.
No, I went
just
2-1 at Leicester. You went 3-1. So, Glenner says not to mind him. Glenner, I'm only messing with you, mate. You can say whatever you like. I really don't mind. I don't block anyone on here or censor you whatsoever. Kev O'Sullivan says they've still got Kante and the German centre back to come in, and possibly the ban lifted in January. Who's the German centre back? Rudiger. Rudiger isn't German, is he? I thought he was Dutch.
Yeah, you're really good. Yeah, Rudiger's German.
Is he? All right, geez, okay. PW said, will he get a huge say on what players are bought into Chelsea? I presume he would. I'd say that it's something that he would have had to discuss before he took over the job. And look, if he didn't, or it was up in the air, I think it's the form this season from Chelsea will now. Lampard is easy to go and go, look what I can do with these. If you give me some more players that I want, I can make it even better. No credit. Typical overstated Englishman. He was a player. Penalty after penalty, says not red. No, you have to give him credit because he has this bunch of players playing some decent football and getting results. Glenner said it's hard to dislike Chelsea at the moment. Lampard is a likeable bloke. They are playing nice stuff. I don't know how likeable he is. I think it can be a little bit, what's the word? Contrived. Is that the word? Is that the word, Grizz? Would you say he's a bit contrived?
Sorry, I lost you there.
Of course you did, because you don't know what it means.
What are you looking for?
It doesn't matter. No, I think Lampard's. It can be a bit of an act on how nice a guy he is. That's just me, but that's just my thing. The last one I want to go to before we get to us on City Grizz is Tottenham against Sheffield United. A really interesting one. Tottenham are going through a little bit of a bad patch. I think the European stuff, Red Star Belgrade, has papered over a few cracks over the last couple of weeks. There's way too much being made of this Son incident with Andre Gomez. And Sheffield United go there, probably 5th or 6th in the league, absolutely flying, loving life in the Premier League. Big win over Burnley last week. And they, as always, will be well drilled. And if they can frustrate a Spurs side for a decent amount of this game, you could probably see Sheffield United causing some sort of upset here, whether that's a win or a draw. What do you make of it?
I like Sheffield United. I like them. They're one of my favourite teams that have come up in recent times. I love their approach. I rate their manager. I think they've shown that they can handle it in the Premier League so far, and they've been very vibrant, full of energy, innovative, in the way they do things. I definitely think they can get a result at Spurs. Spurs are a weird team, very inconsistent, which is, worrying signs for Pochettino, because that's usually a sign of the players not responding to his methods and instructions. You know what I mean? So it's an intriguing game. That's a good game, actually. Normally you'd say, oh, that's a Spurs banker, but it really isn't. This Sheffield United team, as they showed us, they've beaten Arsenal. They gave us probably our hardest game this season. They've rocked a few teams, haven't they? I can't remember. There's another team they rocked as well, quite a good team. But
they got a draw away at Sheffield United.
Yeah,
they got a draw away at Chelsea.
Yep, and they smashed West Ham away last week. So no,
that was
West
Newcastle.
Ham can be a decent. I beg your pardon.
They smashed Burnley at home last week.
Smashed Burnley at home, which can be, Burnley can be tough to break down. But I do like this Sheffield United team. I got a lot of time for their coach, as I said. He's been different. When teams come up, Gav, they either try to play their way out, like Norwich, just pure think they're above their levels and they get caught out, right? So you don't adjust. So, you don't give credit to teams like that because, you got to adjust to where you are. Play according to the level you're playing at now. And, look at your players and see what the best way to survive is. And that usually means teams go into sort of your Stoke Cities, of the past, where it's just defend, long balls. Do you know what I mean? Sam Allardyce, etc., survival. But this Sheffield United team has got a nice mixture, and I like that about them. A lot of pace on the flanks. I think they can get a draw here, Gav. I think Spurs are going through a dodgy spell. Again, a lot of players disinterested. Don't look motivated. The performance against Everton was dire. I mean, it was a poor game all round, and it was made even worse with the incident near the end where the fella broke his leg, etc., etc. But I think this has got a draw written all over it, Gav.
Yeah, Kev O'Sullivan reckons it could be a coupon buster. Looking at it, Spurs at home, Sheffield United well drilled, but I think they might lack a little bit up front. I think just a little bit away from home. I'm gonna go. I'll go first on the score. I'm going to go 1-0 Spurs.
Okay.
What are you having on that?
I'm gonna go 1-1.
Okay, cool. Somebody just mentioned there Southampton and Everton. I tried to stay away from it. Glennar says Southampton to beat Everton tomorrow. Moyes to be an appointment till the end of the season. If Southampton beat Everton, says Chris, then Mersey Billionaires will be out of the relegation zone on goal difference. I thought you were in the relegation zone. No, they were 17th, weren't they? So they're just outside the relegation zone. Grizz, just quickly, Southampton versus Everton. Just give me a prediction on that one. I'm just interested.
Bloody hell. That's an awful game to predict.
I'll go first if you want.
Yeah, go on.
I have Everton down to beat Southampton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Now I think you're looking at a definite draw there.
Okay, you're going with a draw, right, Grizz? The main event, and just to let people know, I have got the free bet for the game on Sunday. It is €20 from Paddy Power. It can be split 10, 5 and 5. Now, I'm not going to build bets this week where you give me all sorts of madness. Just think of normal bets and throw them in at me. You can do like Mane first and Liverpool 3-0 if you want, stuff like that, but I just don't want, all sorts of madness. So if people start sending in their bets now, I will have a look back at them. I'll pick 3. One, a low kind of odds one, where we put €10 on it, and 2 kind of random ones where I'll put 5 and 5 on them, and I will post them on Twitter tomorrow. But look, the big one, Grizz, Man City travel to us on Sunday, 4:30. There's talks now Ederson is out. That's being reported today. Guardiola said it. I still don't believe him. Rodri looks like he won't make it back. David Silva won't be there. Laporte won't be there. He looks like he'll go with Fernandinho with, it looks like John Stones. Fullbacks, it looks like it might be Walker and Mendy or Cancelo. We're not too sure. The front 3 looks like it may be Sterling, Aguero, Mahrez, and then in midfield he's probably looking at something like De Bruyne. Who else we got? Bernardo Silva, and there was one other name I couldn't think of that would go in there. But Grizz, these injuries, I suppose, to City players and Pep Guardiola looking extremely tetchy. I'm going to say that in a interview today and a press conference. What way do you feel going into this? Because I was ultra confident going in early in this week, but right now it's Friday night. We're less than 48 hours away from the game. How are you feeling? Are these injuries swaying you in any way, or do you still think, regardless of what Team City put on that pitch, it's going to be extremely tight come 7 o'clock Sunday evening?
Yeah, I mean, we've been discussing this in private as well all week, and you know what? As soon as the game finished, I was just totally nervous and totally shitting it about this game. Not the fact that, shitting about playing them in terms of, oh, we're not going to win, etc., etc., but just the general nerves about the importance and the relevance and how significant this game is and would be. But, as the days have gone by, Gav, I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I'm pretty calm now. I'm much more calmer, and I'm much more looking forward to it. Because I think it's come too early in the season for it to be an actual title decider, if you know what I mean. Because either way, if we win, 9-point difference, and it's not even December yet, we know we've sort of, lost 9-point leads in the past as well, right? Only last season. And if they win, it goes down to 3 points. And yes, we've played majority of the tough teams, and we look forward to them having an awful December where they've got a mad fixture list where they play a lot of big teams. So either way, Gav, I've realised that it's not as significant as the last meeting, which was at the Etihad, which was totally a make or break for me. Right? I knew if we avoid defeat, in that game will win the league. So the nerves on that day, on that night, were through the roof. I think we can relax, Gav, in this game. I think the pressure is on Man City more than us. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think they can't afford to lose this because they know for the fact that their players aren't back for a little while. For example, Sane and Laporte, who are two magnificent players, aren't back until January, February time. So they'll know that there's tougher games after this as well. If we beat them, I think the psychological boost we get is huge. But I don't think it's as significant as the Etihad game was for me. The nerves and the tension is far less as the more I've thought about it and analysed the situation. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, it's... You know what? My thoughts on it earlier on the week was I feel we can get at them. But thinking of it now, do you know the way you hear some people say, Grizz, oh, that team's a wounded animal, they're dangerous. That's what's coming into my head here. You know, if he doesn't get Rodri back in time, if Ederson is in fact out, you know, if he is having to put Fernandinho into centre half because he obviously doesn't trust Otamendi and Stones together. He's willing to play one, but he's not willing to play two. Gundogan is the man I missed out in midfield. And leading into it now, you know, like they say mind games. I don't think it is mind games. I've said it from the start of the week. I think Klopp is prepared for any side City manage to put out. You know what I mean? Any side, any 11 they put out, I think Klopp will have his team ready to go regardless. But right now, I'm looking at it, and I agree with you. City can't afford to lose because I've said it. I said it last week. If Liverpool got 9 points clear of City tomorrow, I believe in my head that league is over because it's such a huge psychological blow.
Ooh, Gav,
right?
I love when you say these ones, man.
Right. Well, it's a huge psychological blow, as you said, right? And then they're facing into a group of games there where I think they have to play Chelsea, they have to play United, they have to play Arsenal, they have to play Leicester.
It's a mad month coming up.
Yeah, it's a mad month for them, all right? And they cannot lose this game. I think they take a point tomorrow with everything going on. Not tomorrow, Sunday. They definitely take a point. Are they capable of winning the game? Absolutely. But I just get the feeling that this Liverpool side smell blood, and they may go for that dagger to the heart and say, listen, we're going nowhere, boys, and we've played everyone, and we're 9 points clear, you know.
Okay, check this one out.
This one out. Go on.
Jurgen Klopp is known for rock and roll, heavy metal football, etc., etc., and how you've just described it, go for the throw and, really, put a dagger in their hearts. Pep can overthink big games, in my opinion, and it's got a tendency to overthink and be over clever. And what he done at Liverpool last season at the Anfield game was very unlike Pep, but it wasn't unlike Klopp in big games. Now, I firmly believe, and I think it's quite obvious to see in big games, Jurgen Klopp is a conservative manager. Now, most people will say, "What? How are you calling Klopp conservative?" Well, I am, and I just did, because
I know where you're going. Yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah.
I mean, but it's you can see in his selections, you can see in the personnel he picks, the tactics that are deployed. Everyone's expecting goal bonanza, etc., and exciting. I can tell you for a fact now, it will be a carbon copy of last season's game. Don't be surprised if Pep decides to change his system to go 5 at the back with 3 centre halves. Don't be surprised. Well, we won't be. I don't think we will be surprised to see any change to the midfield. I think we'll be surprised to see any change to our usual midfield, which by some accounts and fairly, it's a conservative and defensive midfield, whereas the onus is on the fullbacks and our front three to do the damage, right? Fully expect both teams to cancel each other. Both teams to be happy with the point, but Gav, that we should smell blood. Very similar to the United game, Gav, where I said we need to smell blood and go and beat them. I think the situation with City's injuries, etc., we really need to go for the throw and go for the 3 points. When I say we won't go for the 3 points, of course our intention is to win the game. But I don't think we will be gung-ho, and they most certainly won't be gung-ho like they usually are. They most certainly won't play I don't know if Silva's going to make it or whatever, but I can't see them playing Silva and Bernardo Silva in central midfield. Do you know what I mean? So I fully expect them to be totally different how they played usually. He's going to look to somehow stifle. He's going to maybe look at the way Man United stifled our fullbacks, the way Sheffield United stifled our fullbacks. He's going to try to do something similar. My only fear is he's got a higher caliber of player up front than those teams, which gives it, which makes it more dangerous. But if we go for the kill, Gav, I certainly think we should go for the kill. I just have my doubts if we will go for the kill.
Yeah, I'm just thinking here while you're talking as well, like what sort of lineup he will go with. Like I gave you a lineup earlier. He could do something like when you said 3 at the back. I know Chris mentioned that to me last night as well on the show. When I think about it, he could do something like Otamendi and Stones and stick Fernandinho and Gundogan in front of them, and say 4-2-3-1. He could do it something like that. You never know what he's going to come out with. But a lot of people are saying there.
Well, my theory is going to play with Kyle Walker as a centre half, and I think he's going to play Cancelo and Mendy as wing backs. That's just my theory. He's going to play He's going to try his hardest to get Fernandinho and Gundogan in midfield with Kevin De Bruyne, which gives them a far more solid midfield. And then you can go with Raheem and Aguero up front. That's just my thinking. That's how I think he's going to approach it.
All right. Yeah, Shinehead73 says I'm agreeing with Grizz, which means I must have had one too many. No, Grizz is a football man. Walker is the third centre back, says Kev O'Sullivan. Yeah, absolutely. That's where Grizz is going as well. Northred says should Trent take an early yellow and put Sterling into Rose Ed? No, I think Trent should just play his game. He really, really should. I think it's a fair point you make, Grizz, that it could be a similar game to last season. For a couple of reasons, they are missing some key personnel, and he may think, I can't go out and go for Liverpool here because they could pull us apart. But having said that, I do agree with what you say with regards to the conservatism of Jurgen Klopp at times, mainly when I look back at the last 2 visits to Old Trafford, when we should have went and beat them well, and we didn't, and we came out and never let ourselves get into a flow, gave the team too much respect, and ended up never being able to click into gear to go and win the game. So it's one of those. Stephen Mack is still ultra confident.
Slow starters in big games, Gav. He does go with the conservative lineup.
Yeah,
if you ask the fan base, everybody, I think most of the fan base will want Ox in that team.
Yeah.
For the fact that his drive,
that's the thing. There's loads of comments. There's loads of comments coming in here saying Ox, player of the month, he has to start. Ox has to start. I would be shocked if Oxlade-Chamberlain starts that game on Sunday. I'm going to say.
Same.
Because
I'll be shocked. Yeah.
Because the conservatism you speak of will come into effect come Sunday, and that's only listen. If Henderson plays or is fit and ready, I think he was ill during the week. But if Jordan Henderson is ready to play this game on Sunday, I think Jordan Henderson plays it along with Fabinho and Wijnaldum. I think he'll trust that to go in there and do a job on City's midfield and allow Trent and Robertson to get as far up that pitch as they can to support the front three. And if that means making Mahrez and Sterling or whoever it is out wide track back, so be it. We'll take the risk. Grizz, I'm going to have to ask you for prediction. And this will be your final and official prediction for the game on Sunday. Go.
I think he ends up 1-1, Gav.
You're going 1-1.
I think he ends up 1-1. I'm going 1-1, yep. I know it's not what everyone wants to hear, probably. And, I've seen everyone's predictions about we're going to smash them 4-3. And, we underestimate. I know listen, we're a fantastic team. My God, we're some machine. We can't underestimate and we can't forget that how good this Man City team is also as well, Gav.
Yeah, no, listen, as I said earlier, if they had all the players available, you'd still be guessing as to who they're going. But when you put that team together, the only real weakness I see in that side, for me, maybe at left back in Mendy, because I haven't seen too much of him because he's been injured a lot. But centre half, you know, you'd be more tempted to sit back a little bit and let City come out with you with that centre half partnership and then try absolutely murder them on the break rather than try push onto them and try pick them apart, because Fernandinho's extremely good positionally and he will just foul you for the sake of it. But when you're fouling as a centre half, it's completely different to fouling as a centre midfielder. So
they won't come out. It will be a war of attrition, Gav. It will be a war of attrition. It will be a midfield battle. It will be a very cagey game, looking for a mistake from. Because I personally think one goal will win it. Could win it. It'll be whoever blinks first.
Yeah.
And being at home and the onus on us, we would expect to go and push it and go for that 9-point gap.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think Klopp does it in big games. Look, he might just surprise us and, being the amazing coach and manager he is, he might go gung-ho and we go and blitz them like we done in the Champions League, But he knew in the Champions League he had a buffer, he had to get that lead before they go to Old Trafford. Do you know what I mean? To the away leg, in Etihad. This is different. He knows this is not a cup tie. He knows this is a league game. We got to keep that 6-point gap. It's just my theory. He's a conservative in the big games.
Yeah, no, there is, and listen, I think if City had all their players available, he would know a little bit more as to the way they're going to play. There will be a little bit of intrigue from Klopp there as to what's he going to do. He'll get the 11, obviously at 3:30, but he'll be looking, going, what way are they going to do this? If you see the likes of a Cancelo in the team and a Mendy, you're thinking, right, this is 5 at the back. It's a very intriguing game, I suppose, for the neutral. Liverpool flying, everyone's ready to rock.
It's the biggest. We're the best two teams in Europe, bar none. The best two teams in Europe now, bar none. No one can tell me there's teams out there that are better than these two at the moment in Europe.
Yeah,
so it's the biggest. Point. It's the biggest game of Europe. It is. I mean, you can talk about your Juventus's, nope. Your Real Madrid, Barcelona's, nope. No one. These two are the best teams in Europe, and it's the biggest game of the season so far. And it's absolutely intriguing, Gav. As you said, the lineups, no one knows. You can probably guess ours, but even then, there's a slight issue of Ox or Hendo or whatever. Man City, I don't think anybody can predict their team. I don't think anyone can predict how Pep's going to have them set up. So it's an absolute intriguing battle. I was shitting it in terms of nervousness, but I'm not now. I think we can relax, and whatever the outcome of the result, I think this season is going to be an amazing race right to the end.
Noel Tracy said he's heading over there in the morning. He reckons 3-1, Salah and Mane. He reckons Milner will start. We'll have to wait and see. Enjoy it, Noel. As Not Red says, enjoy. Have a good time, Noel. Bring back 3 points. Bring back weather with you. You know the way when you go on holiday and people go, oh, you brought the weather back with you, when clearly you fucking didn't. Let me say, we're not flying in any way, shape or form, Gav. What I mean by flying is we have our strongest 11 available, bar Matip. And we are flying in the sense that we've played 11, 1, 10 and drew 1. No, I think people are looking. What Kev means by that is that we haven't been absolutely ruthless and electrifying, but listen, this is flying, lads. This is flying before we've even taken off, and we're still flying, so it's absolutely fine. Nordred says they've been yapping about the bus getting attacked on Sunday, running scared. We have them petrified. Let me see. We're winning without shining, says Kev O'Sullivan. Yeah, that's it. But I think we are flying, and I think we're absolutely just pouring along perfectly. You don't want to peak.
We are.
You don't want to peak in November. You want to be hitting. You want to be hitting top form end of February and absolutely blasting it. 3-1 is the computer bet, lads. 4-1 says Stephen Max. Stephen, I'll see. I'll have a look at 4-1 and see what it says. I said 4-0 at the start of the week, Grizz. I was being very bold and very aggressive with regards to that. And do you know what? Do you know something? And I know this sounds stupid. If Ederson plays, if I thought Ederson was playing on Sunday and it was guaranteed Ederson was playing on Sunday, I'd be more confident than I am if he isn't.
Really?
And and I'll tell you why. Because I think if Claudio Bravo plays, I think it puts City another 5 yards deeper. And I don't really want to see City deep. I want them to come out and be confident in themselves. I think a deeper line City is a little bit more dangerous to us with the players that they'll have on the pitch and the momentum we look to get going. And if it doesn't get going, City grow into it. But I'm going to stick to a fairly bold prediction. 3-1 is the most popular prediction I've heard throughout the week as I went on and on. I'm going, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going with Stephen Mack. I'm going 4-1 Liverpool.
Oh, Gav.
Yeah, I am.
All right.
I
Yeah,
am.
no, fair enough.
Northred has Lovren to score. Chris Pross says stop Kevin De Bruyne and we win it easy. Substitutions will be key, says Glenner. What's City's bench be like? I haven't had a look. I haven't.
They'll have a strong bench, but so will we. See, this is the intriguing tactical battle that I'm looking forward to, because I think both teams will have plenty of armory and weapons on the bench. I don't think he's going to start with Mahrez. I don't think he's going to start with Jesus. So that's two tremendous. Bernardo Silva. That's three tremendous attacking players.
I will start Bernardo Silva.
I don't know, Gary.
Oh, we absolutely will. He absolutely will. Bernardo Silva is probably the hardest working midfielder.
He is, but it all depends on Gav if he goes for the 5 at the back. If he does, then he's guaranteed the 3 in midfield will be Kevin De Bruyne, Fernandinho, and Gundogan. That's what it's, that's if that's the way he's going to go. I don't see him pushing up. I know you're saying Ederson. Without Ederson, I see your theory and I see your point. I just don't think they will. He won't play a high line against us. He's been murdered with a high line before. He will play a very deep line like he did, and he literally will try to kill the crowd in that first half an hour and totally keep hold of the ball. And they are very capable of keeping that ball for long periods in the game, as they've shown. But saying that, that's enough, big enough of Man City. We have got the weapons to just totally destroy any game plan that any team has.
Do you know what weapon hasn't been discussed?
We'll have a hungry, motivated Sadio Mane, and arrested Mane, and arrested Bobby Firmino. The only one with a slight issue and doubt about his form and fitness is Salah, but he played 90 minutes, and I thought he looked much, much better. Salah comes alive at this time of season. Don't put it past Mo to turn up for this big game and start kicking off his season, and it could be the boost we need.
The one thing we haven't discussed is the crowd, is the stadium itself. Is Liverpool fans going in there after, and it's a nice kick-off time, 4:30 on a Sunday. You get out, you have your few points, you get up for the game, you meet up with mates. Anfield's rocking, the pubs around Anfield are rocking from early. Does that make a difference, Grizz? Because people, you hear opposition players say, "No, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter," and then they get in the ground and they shit themselves.
Gav. Fuck everything else. Their coach has, on camera, on film, talked about us in sort of glowing terms and how the Anfield and the spirit of Anfield and the magic of Anfield is real. And Gav, he hasn't been, and you can see it on these interviews that he's done to, I think, with a Spanish broadcaster, where he's talked about it's not a joke and it's not a marketing ploy when they say this is Anfield. It really is. So when a team and the players know that their coach feels this way about a club and the support, just imagine if they go a goal behind, and the crowd's on top of them. Automatically the insecurities come flooding back because their manager believes in it. So how is he supposed to convey to his players that, no, I don't believe in it, I was joking, or doesn't matter, we overcome this? It's very difficult, Gav. It's very difficult. We've got to make Anfield an absolute ball pit of hatred and heat and emotion, Gav, and it does, and it works. We've seen in the past, and there's proof, there's facts to show that, how we make comebacks that no other team can, and sort of pull out performances that none other can, even, from the Benitez era when we were shit, but yet we managed to, raise the roof in big games. Do you know what I mean? This is one of those games where he said it. He goes, I want the crowd, I want the dinner ladies, I want the cooks, I want the chefs, everyone, the person who sells the hot dogs. Klopp said it today that he wants everyone to be
He's
in their best top form for this.
He's quietly storing up a frenzy, isn't he? You know, like
He's got yeah. And there's no better manager in world football than doing that. There's absolutely not a better manager in world football to get the fan base, on his side and in a frenzy. And let's hope the team gives them something to sort of get frenzied about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Adam Petruccione, my favourite name in the world probably.
Wasn't he in The Sopranos?
No, he wasn't into Sopranos. No, he was in Cheers. The temperature will be in single digits. Who does that tilt the advantage to? A nice cold Anfield under the lights. No, Tracy says great to see the club getting Sean Cox over. A bad situation, but still nice to see. Absolutely. Sean Cox and his family will be at Anfield on Sunday, and that's a brilliant thing to see. Look, I've said loads before about what we've done to try help in that situation, and only happy to. And you know what, a win for Sean Cox watching at Anfield will be probably the best thing for that man, and we again wish him all the best in his recovery. That would still be long. That recovery's still going to be long, but he seems to be getting there. So I think I speak for everyone that's watching this and everyone involved in the day trippers and Grizz and me and everyone when I say the best of luck to Sean, and I hope he enjoys the game on Sunday. Let me see. Yeah. So look, I'm going with 4. I'm going with 4-1 Liverpool, because I just feel that this is it. This is the one where we just blast the team apart and just really show what we're about. I do get your points, Grizz. I can see loads of different scenarios the way this game might go, and it could be a real war of attrition. It could be one where they sneak a goal and hang on. It could be one where we sneak a goal and hang on. It could be one where one team blasts the other out of it, because they're both such good teams that any of these things can happen. Really, any of these things. If we come out with a draw, it's 6 points. If we come out with a win, it's 9 points. If we lose the game, you're still 3 points clear, and you've played City and you've played everybody else. Let's be honest about it. That's what we're talking about. But I just feel, for me, Grizz, that this Sunday is a game where Liverpool go out, and I know people say lay down the marker, but I'm not even talking about laying down markers. I'm talking like Graham Souness going out and planting fucking flags in enemy territory like he did in Turkey. That's what I'm talking about. So look, we've given our predictions. All we can do is go and watch the game on Sunday. Myself and Grizz and Chris and possibly one more will be back with you on Sunday. 9 p.m. Isn't that right, Grizz? 9 p.m?
That's right.
9 p.m. With all the reaction to this game. Come along. It's on YouTube only. Live on YouTube only. So anybody watching on Periscope at the moment, just search LFC Day Trippers, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. As soon as we go live, you will get a notification, whether it's on your phone, tablet, whatever. It could be on your telly, I don't know. Wherever you're using YouTube, on whatever device that's on. It'll be a good show. It always is. It'll be the reaction to Liverpool versus Man City. There'll be random stuff thrown in there. Grizz will probably mention camels, Leighton Orient, Pakistani cricket. It all goes off. It really does. But look, Grizz, thanks a million for joining me tonight. I know you've come out of work to do this for me, so thanks a million.
No problem, mate. Pleasure as always.
No problem. And thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks for everyone for commenting. And as I said, get subscribed to YouTube. Please get subscribed, and you will get all the reaction to this game on Sunday night. That's been the FB4 Daily. We've kept you for 55 minutes. It's probably 15 to 20 minutes too long, but we're enjoying ourselves. And if anyone deserves to enjoy themselves, it's me and Grizz. Over and out.